Hello everyone, I'm Colin Canet. Today we're going to have some fun working on a live edge top, and I'm going to show you how you can save some money by optimizing this kind of wood. And if you haven't already subscribed, I invite you to do that, and let's get started. Now I know you can't see this piece of wood I'm working with because it's 9.5 feet long, and it's typical of a lot of natural edge wood. This one's natural edge on both sides. You can buy it sometimes with just natural edge on one side. Now this is a very typical piece, and if you notice down here, it's kind of narrow and it gets wider as it goes up. And that's typical because the tree, as it's growing, is wider at the butt, and of course it gets narrower as it grows up. But when you're going to make a tabletop of something like this, not everybody wants sort of a V-shaped table. Most people want square or, maybe some kind of organic look to it, but seldom do they actually want sort of a V shape. So what we're going to do today is I've made a template and I'm going to mark out an area, and we're going to cut the pieces out of this that we want. Then we're going to join them together. Now the top that I'm going to be making today wants to be about 20 inches wide by 40 inches long. So what I've done off camera, I created this template. It's a square template, and guess what? It's 10 inches wide by 40 inches long. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to lay the wood down to do this, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick an area that I can lay this on so that it's roughly around the top. So it'll sort of look like that, but I need to do it on the face. So I'll be marking an area something like that, and there might be some areas that are a little high or a little low, and that's okay because it's live edge. Then I'll mark out probably with a pencil, and then I'll probably use my portable circular saw and cut that out and start working on it from there. But then I need another piece, and as luck would have it, if I take this clamp off here, I'll be able to get another piece down in here. And you can see it's very close down in here, but I'll be able to take those two together. So I'll have two pieces like this, and I'll be able to bring them together like that, and we'll prepare the edges and glue them up. And I'm going to show you how we do that, how we plane it, and how we get those edges to match up. So there's my template, and I'm going to lay it as best I can so that it's even with this side of the live edge, because I need to work from this side for now. Now I don't normally use my circular saw in the workshop, but I'm making an exception today, and I've set the blade so that it's just barely below the material. I'm not going to cut right on the line. I'm going to make a rough cut, and I'm going to be on this side of the line ever so slightly. So let's go ahead and make that cut. Okay, I've just set up the other piece. Now, I just need to clamp that wood down again, and we'll make that cut. There, I just took a minute and cut the other side. Now we need to cut the length. So what you're looking at here is the back of the table. The top is underneath because I'm going to use my circular saw, and from some of my earlier videos that the best cut with the circular saw, the cleanest cut is on the underside, so that's why I have the top on the underside. Now I've marked some lines on here. This is the line, is a transfer line, and the way I got that, I just drilled a tiny hole from the top down so that I could get a reference on both sides, and I've set up this aluminum guide rail so that I get a perfect edge all the way across. So let's get cutting. There, and you can see that's a nice clean cut, no tear out. That's exactly what I wanted. That's perfect. It's all ready to go to the jointer. Okay, let's do the other end the same way. Well, there's my two pieces. I'm really happy with them. They're looking really good. And of course, you can't cut these edges on the table saw to make the initial cuts because it's just not safe to do. I could have used the bandsaw. I just elected to use a circular saw in this case. Now, the next thing that I need to do is I need to make them flat on one side, and I don't happen to own a 10-inch jointer, so I'm going to be using my planer. And some time ago I made a planing jig. I'll put the link for it up there. You'll be able to see that pop up on your screen. And now I'm going to use that same planing jig. We'll set that up. So we're going to joint one side. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and when both sides are flat, or when one side is flat on each side, then we'll do the thickness planing. So I've got my wood in the planing jig here, and I just need to turn on my dust collector. I'm all ready to go, and it'll probably take 2 or 3 passes. Now the board that I'm working on right now, there's actually it seems to be fairly flat. There's no movement at all on this, so that's good. So we'll just go ahead and start doing some planing. Okay, both my boards are flat on one side, and I'm happy about that. I can see the top is a little bit wavy, so we're going to thickness plane it now, and it's going to be several passes. Now that I have my wood jointed and planed to thickness, I'm going to clean up that one edge, joint it, and then we can go to gluing. I'm going to use some dowels and just put some dowels in here, and that way I can align them just about perfectly. I'll just have to do a light sanding, and this top will be perfectly even. Now I started off by aligning my jig to the very end of the board here, and now I'm going to use, because this is a metal bar, I don't want to get confused with which side I'm using, so I always put blue tape on. That way I make sure that I use the right measuring. And I'm just going to go carry along and do about 6 of these holes all the way across. And whenever you do a glue up like this, you want to make sure you've got lots of glue in there, because you want glue to squeeze out at least a little bit of it. Because if you don't have squeeze out, you can end up with voids, and voids are just impossible to try and fill. Well, the clamps are off, and I've even used my scraper to scrape most of the glue off. There's still a little bit left on here, but I'm just so impressed with the joint there. It's just perfect all the way across. That doweling jig does such an excellent job of that. Well, that concludes my video for today, and that gives you some ideas when you're working with single-sided or even double-sided live edge lumber, what you can do to take it apart, put it back together so that it fits exactly the kind of project that you're wanting to make with it. And I'm Colin Canet for WoodWorkWeb. Thanks for watching.